Hi, thank you, Spectra, for giving me an opportunity to talk about the role of blockchain in marketing and communications. These are exciting times for the industry. I would rather sort of stick my neck out to say that the time is really running out for the ad world. Perhaps the next 18 months is extremely crucial and critical for the industry. At one end, companies like Trade Desk or any other demand side platforms or many other companies are looking at launching new identification opportunities to replace the cookies. Publishers on the other end are talking about creating some consortiums to overcome these challenges, not to ignore the industry itself, launching something like a responsible advertising in the marketplace. Why is this happening today? I would say the time has really come up to wake up and smell the coffee. Three broad trends. One is the deprecation of third party cookies, which is focusing on privacy preserving targeting alternatives, where consent and provenance is now becoming a regulatory requirement in the industry. At the other side of the spectrum, advertisers and the advertiser industry body is focusing more on collaboration and standardization of different taxonomies in the industry today to resolve many unknown things that is in the digital advertising supply chain. At the fundamental level, 90% of the marketers today believe that their consumer experience technology has not been really up to the mark. Many alternative solutions are being fixed up right now, but yet to be resolved. I believe these are new standards and policies that's required in the industry today. I would call it as the new three P's of marketing. Privacy, provenance, and personalization is now going to be the bedrock of the new advertising and communications industry. GDPR, CCPA, or whether it is Personal Data Protection Bill or Act in India or in many other such industries and countries today, is focusing on enforcing compliance in managing customers' data. Privacy is now at the heart of marketing communications. Equally important is the provenance of it. Whatever we are doing with the data, which the consumers are given consent to, is becoming very, very important. Without privacy compliant and ability to provide provenance of what's been done with the data, personalization is not going to be up to the mark or compliant tomorrow. So, privacy, provenance, and personalization is what I would call as the new three P's of marketing. Let's dig deep into it in each one of them in some form. Today, whether it is Safari or Firefox, which probably is one third of the browser industry, already do not have cookies to track consumers. Google has announced it some time back. They just held their agenda and they're talking about the next 18 months' time to have a different kind of privacy preserving techniques with the Chrome browser. So, in the next 18 months' time, across all the browsers, we'll have some form of privacy preserving approaches to ensure that third party cookies are not tracking consumers randomly without consumers' consent. Big difference in the industry. When this is being played out, the general view is that, and supported by Winterberry Group, is that the media world will further fragment into a set of walled gardens, each one of them having their own privacy preserving techniques, and there will be an emergence of few private gardens and a set of communal gardens, and those who don't belong to any one of these three will probably have to be called as the rolling hills. So the open web as we see today is going to be a bunch of gardens as we go forward, which is the huge difference to the way we see the world today. So what does it mean from a marketing perspective? Extremely fragmented and disconnected consumer journey, because each of these gardens will have their own methods and approaches of privacy preserving techniques, loyalty programs that needs to be run across various programs, whether it is content marketing initiatives. Everything is going to be disconnected between each other because each one of them will need to have their own approach to protecting the techniques, which is a huge concern for marketers going forward, and aptly captured by WFA as what that needs to be done in answering some of these things. And they have created a global principle which I would call as the new age challenge for the marketing industry. At the heart of it is privacy, transparency, trust, and what it means is that privacy, provenance, and personalization leads to reputation, growth, and productivity for the industry. This is a tectonic shift for the industry. An industry built like a Tower of Babel with close to $120 billion of money that's being spent in different technologies today. That entire system is going to go for a change or an overhaul or a new approach, and there are many solutions that's being talked about it today. Nothing yet is clearly in providing quite a clear answer to that. I would also like to give that perspective. Forrester talked about this beautiful construct which says that 40% of the marketeers are looking for new technologies in solving this problem, because we're talking about systems of insight at one side, systems of engagement or activation on the other side, and the enabling technologies at the bottom are all disjointed today. And that's the crux of the problem. And unless and until some new approaches or technologies comes in, we are going to have a huge challenge in addressing this need. And at the heart of it is the fact that more than 2/3 of any enterprise data today do not belong to them. It is with somebody else. Gone are the days of the past where companies can have their own data sets in their own server, building their own castles of data, and that's gone away. We are living in a world where every enterprise, every company will have to find a way in which they can collaborate, engage with more companies to ensure that they can enrich the data sets. That's the crux of the problem, according to our view. What it means is that every time a digital campaign is conducted today, at least 6 to 7 enterprises are duplicating the data sets across different roles and responsibilities they do, whether it is a demand side platform or a supply side platform or any of the creatives that's being built or the data sources. Everybody does it every time and they share it with everybody else. It's cacophony in some form or the other. So what if instead of duplicating these sources, we can find a way in which it can be unified, where customer data platforms, audience delivery platforms, or identity resolution platforms. I've just sort of simplified it to show 3 of them today, but you can look at it as more than 3. But how can we find a way in which we can seamlessly unify this source of information so that we don't spend too much time in duplicating it, and in the process provenance and privacy and its compliance can be managed very well. That is where better discovery of the campaign and the results can be kept in, because you don't have to necessarily duplicate it every time. Everybody in the ecosystem shares the data in a common platform that helps everybody to discover systems very well. And this has been in the discussion for a long time, and when the cookie is deprecated and then alternative ID solutions have been talked about as solutions, the industry realized that if they need to really bring this kind of a mechanism to place, 8 critical dependencies were highlighted as a need for it. Whether it is to be in the area of collaboration or sharing or activation, these are the 8 things that definitely is required now in the industry. At top of the picking order is encryption and salting. Every enterprises in the future needs to have some kind of encryption technologies where the data sets is safely protected and encrypted. Salting is a new approach which is highlighting the fact that even if you are using any consented data, it needs to be in a situation of where you don't trace it back to the source. You need to salt it, or you need to add some noise to it so that it is not traceable back. These are fundamental requirements in the future. What it also means is that it has to be a decentralized design where when 2 companies share information, both of them have consistent taxonomies. It's not centralized with one company. And whenever any activity happens, they should be in a position to capture and convey those consumer preferences across the supply chain. Very critical requirement in the future. And therefore, there needs to be a consent portal, and this needs to be managed by an independent third party. It has to be non-biased. It should be auditable for everybody to be safe and trustworthy, and to be able to detect fraud. I mean, some of these things are already being talked about for a long time in the ad tech industry or the marketing industry today. But should this privacy, provenance, and personalization needs to be compliant and deployed in a proper manner, every company needs to tick these 8 boxes. And that's where we believe distributed ledger technology or blockchain plays a very critical role, because these are the 8 qualifications that is required, or that a blockchain carries with it. Let me bring it to life in a simpler form. At a fundamental level, every enterprise today has some kind of a database, and they maintain it in their own form, in their own server, Excel files or DBS, or in kind of server systems. If they need to be in a decentralized design, technically they need to be in a distributed architecture where 2 enterprises can talk to each other. And when such a situation comes out, where whenever a change is being made to any one of them, the other organization recognizes it and updates it, it automatically becomes a distributed ledger. And in a distributed ledger, when there is encryption and when it's a proof of whatever is being done with it is recorded, it becomes a blockchain. So if for a moment ignore and do not think about cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin, and if you really go by the architecture, the fundamental system with which blockchain is being built, the distributed ledger technology, as they call it, is the perfect solution that's required for the industry to tick those 8 boxes. And I believe there are 4 broad needs which I am trying to bucket these into, that's required going forward. One is organizations will start building their own consumer databases. They will start building their own transaction of inventories and whatever they do with it, and all the behavioral data they have with them is recorded with their own system, and they start sharing it in a distributed manner with other organizations. The future of databases will move from building your own castles of organizational silos in which you hoard information towards a distributed database and a distributed ledger. This is stage 1 in the process. At the heart of this future of databases is differential privacy. Everybody talks about it in some form or the other today. What it means is that data systems is kept in a native location in their own organization. Depending upon permissions, few variables are exported for activation. Technically speaking, this is what everybody calls about as a clean room. Tomorrow, clean room is something which needs to be a mandatory requirement for every organization to manage in some form or the other. That helps to provide some kind of a encrypted and salting methodologies for providing differential privacy. Second part of this entire thing is about, now that we have a distributed ledger on which 2 different enterprises are talking to each other, a particular encryption ensures that every data is cryptographically protected, and whenever there is a change that happens, there is a consensus on which 2 or 3 or more organizations agree to those changes, and that is where systems start building their own new analytics and new learnings on top of it, where everybody sees the same thing. So the future of collaboration is all built on federated learning, where different organizations brings the data sets together, build their own analytics, and made available to all the organizations to see it, so that there is trust in the ecosystem. So differential privacy and federated learning are the 2 critical things that will be driving the future, and therefore the blockchain technology comes to play. Let me just take a pause on this and talk about what we believe at Achilles as the future of marketing when the deprecation of cookies comes to picture. At the heart of it is consented audiences. Consumers have the right to hold their own data, and they provide consent to activate their information, and brand will need to work with a consented consumer who is willing to share their own data, and they do the same thing with the platforms as well. So the brands and the platforms will need to engage with consented audiences in creating marketplaces. It can be a garden, it can be a private garden or a walled garden or communal gardens, but whatever we build, whatever is being built, it will eventually become some kind of a marketplace where there is exchange of value between the brand, the consumer, and the platform. So the heart of it, therefore, is consumer data, and that data is flowing through the browser, through the websites of the own brands or the brand's data sets itself, or through any other platforms, and different targeting techniques, whether it is contextual targeting or interest-based targeting or custom audiences is being built, or any kind of attribution can only be done if consumer is given data to be in a consented manner. At the heart of it, therefore, is consent. Without consent and without provenance of that consent, we cannot proceed further to be compliant in activating marketing campaigns tomorrow. I'm just highlighting this as one of the critical needs, which is leave out of GDPR or CCPA, any of the regulations, is any information that is freely given, specific, informed, or unambiguous indication of data subject's wishes, it needs to be recorded in a consent management platform, and an organization should demonstrate how the data was collected and used, so that upon query, they should be able to show that this is how the data was used. This is the heart of the future of data collaboration, and the distributed ledger technology provides such benefit to manage it. Therefore, whether it is campaign management or profiling or targeting, identification of capping frequencies and measuring an attribution, user ID is a basic requirement in the future. So if we sum up all these things, the single source of truth in any campaign management is built on these four principles: a distributed database that is made as a distributed ledger for different organizations to collaborate in a safe and secure manner, and an encrypted technology that ensures that the datasets are cryptographically protected, and through a consensus protocol that ensures that whenever there's a change is being made, everybody who is collaborating agrees to this particular change of system. So the single source of truth built across these four pillars ensures that the system is compliant across the three P's of marketing: privacy, provenance, and personalization. And I just want to use only one slide to talk about Achilles. This is not a plug on Achilles, but what we have built is today where different organizations can bring their own data sets. They can safely and securely ingest it, and different companies collaborate in creating marketing campaign related analytics for activation purposes. That helps in making all the organizations who are contributing to it compliant from privacy point of view. They get provenance of what's been done with the data, and they get better personalization because it is based on consent. So the industry is now at a stage where cookies are going to go away in the next 18 months' time. There's a shift towards consent and permission. Every app you can see today wants this permission to be recorded. You'll keep hearing these pop-ups, seeing these pop-ups coming out to say allow app to track or allow app to give you consent to track, because they need to maintain that consent which you are given. And slowly, if consent and permission is becoming very important, by the end of next year, market will have to go towards some kind of an audience marketplace where the brands or the advertisers integrate themselves with the platform and engage with the content audience. So when such a transition happens, distributed ledger technology with cryptography and consensus protocol and distributed ledger enables this ecosystem. So for the new urge, for a new challenge where privacy, provenance, and personalization is going to be the key requirement, and a trusted, transparent ecosystem is required for the industry, so that a company protects its own reputation, most importantly, in this new world, and ensures that they're able to grow their own business using their own first-party data sets, and therefore in the process make themselves productive, is the new world order. And in such a new world order, blockchain really plays a very key role in making marketing communications safe, secure, and compliant. Thank you for giving me an opportunity on this. I hope it gives you some thought to think about. This is a very, very heavy topic to be discussed in 20 30 minutes, but I just thought I will use this opportunity to highlight some key requirements or key points that you can take home and sort of search and more, do more about it, and find your own relevance in your industries at this point in time. Thank you.
Thank you, Gautaman, for such an insightful talk. And as you said, G Man, that's how your friends call it. That's an interesting name. But there's a lot here to unpack from an audience perspective. You talked about blockchain changing the game,
Yeah.
starting now. But what does it mean? Will it mean that we'll have content monetization gather pace? Will it mean that there will be more content ownership going forward? How do you see that unfolding?
Yes. So if you look at it from the way the marketplaces evolve, we talked about the walled gardens doing their own thing, and many such communal gardens coming at and creating their own ecosystem, right? So if that happens, automatically these platforms will have to directly engage with the consumer, and that means that quality of content needs to be constantly updated, and this short form content and such initiatives become very very important, and they need to be rewarded as well. So it is a huge opportunity for platforms to continue to provide snackable content, so they hold back the consumers. If platforms don't hold back the consumers, they lose the monetization opportunities to Hina. So yeah, it's all about content. Otherwise, consumers will walk away. They'll go to a place where they can get good content access.
So when we hear conversations and talks like yours, Gautama, the big question is what's going to happen in the next few months and how my life is going to change if I'm a marketer or a communicator. So can you give us a view of how does the short to medium term, let's say 18 months, look like? And when we are firming up our plans, allocating budgets or planning our skills, where should we bet on, or where should we put our money in?
It's my view. Hopefully, it makes sense to everybody. The reality is that when I talked about 18 months time is when Google really pulls the plug on the cookies on the Chrome browser, which they say it is going to be the first quarter of 23 at second quarter of 23, right? So everybody has next 18 months time to find a way in which tracking can be done in a concentrated manner. That's the challenge today. And Google talked about their own proprietary approach called Flock, which did not really was consented, so they have to trace back. So from a marketer's point of view, first and foremost is how do I ensure that I build direct relationship with my consumer. So, for example, let's take a CPG or an FMCG brand. They have lots of consumers, but they really don't know who the consumers are. Compared to, let's say, an automobile brand, an automobile brand will know every single person who has bought a car because I've given them my email address, my details, and everything else, right? So there is a way in which some of the brands can directly talk to the consumer. They can prospect and target. Certain brands will struggle, will not know who the consumers are because we have been using cookies as a decoy. So first and foremost will be to have a better understanding of our own consumer and know the consumers better. Try to build your own strong database, and use the next 18 months to do some good trials and test campaigns in different approaches, because there is no one solution. And we need to partner. They should be able to try it out with like-minded companies to see if they can complement each other. Secure sharing of data and how I can do it in a safe manner is what they should be trying in the next 18 months time. If I put it that way.
Probably it's a culture shift as well. It's a
That's right.
mindset
Yeah.
shift as well. But you talk about consent and privacy, and you mentioned GDPR and the data privacy laws becoming more firm and real on the ground. But that's been there for a while, and still, what you see, the digital economy is there, whether we like it or not, thanks to
Right.
COVID. But the policies haven't kept pace. But you say that it's going to actually be the change agent. What has changed according to you that we will see that acceleration?
Okay, so had it remained only with GDPR in European Union, which came quite a few years back, many of these companies would have just continued to plod along and keep paying fines in France or in Germany or Italy and continue to get on with life. But what happened is CCPA, which is GDPR's equivalent, comes into effect in the US. And then every single other country is slowly going to deploy it. Like India has got a privacy protection bill, it's going to become an act. We all know that China is just going to follow their own new privacy laws. They have been cracking down on apps, snooping around with customers' data. Indonesia is going to do it. So the regulators are giving more importance to customer consent, not just with GDPR, but with individual countries now. That's the trigger. And when CCPA comes into effect, all the big tech companies who are based in California needs to comply with it. And then there is the realization that they're not compliant today. And just last week, Facebook announced that they now have a new compliant approach to targeting consumer, as if they were not been compliant so far. So, I mean, so it's like this is waking up to the reality that regulators are now going to really make the tech companies or anybody else to have informed consent and engage with the consumers in a compliant manner.
Yeah.
So that's a trigger.
What I hear you say is we are at an inflection point.
That's
And
right.
that's why the next
Absolutely.
18 months is very
Yeah.
critical. Let me come back to blockchain. And there are two schools of thought on blockchain, right? There are naysayers as well as there are those proponents of blockchain. So let's talk about that technology for a bit. Is it, will it deliver the promise it holds and how you talked about it? And is there a case for demystifying or bursting some myths? Because there's a lot of compounded confusion with
Yeah.
crypto angle coming into play as well. So would love to
That's
hear your thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, for starters, this is not about cryptocurrencies. We are not talking about bitcoins or any such tokenization of the assets or industries. Simply put, we are only talking about blockchain technology or the technology that runs behind the blockchain or a Bitcoin, and that is just a distributed ledger technology, which essentially means that more than 2 or 3 organizations can exchange information through a shared ledger, which means that everybody sees the same database. It's like when I open a Microsoft Excel, when I make some changes, another company can also see it and they see the changes, so that whenever I make some changes, they agree to it. And that's a simple approach. So we are talking about blockchain from a distributed ledger technology angle, not a crypto or a token angle.
And
And
that's
if you look
an important differentiation.
differentiation, absolutely. And if you look at it from that perspective, many companies are already doing it. I mean, it can that's worth another session to be honest. But if you look at it, I mean, for those who are listening to this, you just go and search for Amazon web services. They provide blockchain services. I mean, organic companies can, when they have a supply chain that needs to be resolved, you go and participate and ensure that your entire supply chain is on the chain. So Azure provides blockchain services. So it's not that it is not yet been done. The challenge is everybody jumps into cryptocurrencies and tokens, and therefore they say, I don't need tokens in marketing. And the reality is, yes, you don't need tokens in marketing. But we have a challenge of a long supply chain between the brand and the consumer, ad agencies, demand side platforms, supply side platforms, verification partners, so on and so forth. And they all can come together on a shared ledger to improve everybody's requirement. And that's what we're trying to do today.
Gautam, that was interesting, your perspective on blockchain as a technology, and thanks for bursting some of the myth that comes with it. But let me put you on a spot there. What about other technologies? Because as marketers and communicators, we're constantly having this conversation about technology adoption. So, if you had to take bets, what will be your top tech bets so far as marketing and communications is concerned?
Privacy compliant data. I think that's the heart of it. Okay, so clean room or an ability for each of the organizations to maintain their own set of databases and ability to record consent. I mean, consent management and what they call as CDPs today, I think will become an essential requirement for every single enterprise. I think without CDP, I think you will not. There's nothing to start with. No.
We can't let you go without a bit of crystal ball gazing, G-man. So let's see if there's so much of tug of war and conversation around where does human creativity and technology find that fine balance. So if I have to ask you, what will the role of human creativity, let's say in the decade ahead, what will be your thoughts?
Yeah, see, I've been a victim of these algorithms for too long, and I hate it, to be honest. Okay, I wish there is serendipity in life. So areas where unexpected things happen, not that everything is programmed and there is an equation and you know everything that's going on. And the recommendation engine snoops around and tells you exactly what you want. I mean, that's like a red pill world, right? The creativity comes in when there is serendipity. There is something unexpected, something new, or something which, like a breath of fresh air, where things that is not part of the bubble. And how do we find it? How do we create it? Is where the challenge for human creativity comes in, and that means that we'll always have to think out of the box at every stage. Um, while authentic sources are very important, how can I be beyond that, looking for authenticity to find something new? So I wish sometimes there are no recommendation engines, and I'll be very happy. I mean that's uh, that to my mind is the crux of the challenge today. Serendipity, if only we can bring it to some form.
Absolutely. I think, the beauty of the unknown, as you
Yeah,
put.
that's absolutely critical.
Yes. Thank you so much, Gautam. And that's a lot to think about. And thank you for your talk and all the
Thanks,
insights. Thank you so much.
thanks a lot.